During the first 5 years of life, your baby's brain is performing an invisible miracle. Every conversation you have, every book you read together, every moment of play builds neural pathways that shape attention, emotional control, and sleep patterns for years to come. This incredible development depends on one thing above all: real, back-and-forth interaction with the people they love. But right now, in homes around the world, one seemingly innocent habit is quietly disrupting this delicate process. It's not bad parenting. It's not neglect. It's something most of us do without realizing the harm: handing our babies phones and tablets loaded with fast-paced, high-stimulation videos. Before we continue, tell me in the comments, how old is your little one? Knowing their age helps us keep these tips relevant to your stage of parenting. Shows and videos designed for children promise education and entertainment. Bright colors, catchy songs, beloved characters, they seem perfect for keeping your baby calm while you cook dinner, answer emails, or simply catch your breath. And at first, it works like magic. The moment that screen lights up, crying stops. Fussing disappears. Your child sits perfectly still, eyes locked on the tablet. But here's what's actually happening behind those quiet moments. A baby's developing brain is not designed for the intensity of modern screen content. Rapid scene changes every few seconds, flashing lights, exaggerated movements, constant music. This is sensory overload disguised as entertainment. This overstimulation triggers artificial excitement in the brain, creating what feels like engagement but is actually overwhelm. And here's the problem: when you remove the screen, the real world feels dull by comparison. The quiet voices of parents, the simple pleasure of stacking blocks, the calm rhythm of a bedtime story, none of it can compete with the dopamine rush of screen content. So your baby cries when the tablet is taken away. They refuse to play with toys. They fight sleep. They melt down over nothing. These aren't discipline issues or personality problems. These are warning signs that their nervous system has been pushed into overdrive and can no longer regulate itself. Let me introduce you to Lisa. She's a working mother with a bright, energetic 2-year-old son named Denny. Like most parents, Lisa discovered the tablet by accident during a particularly difficult morning. Denny was crying, refusing breakfast, throwing toys. She had a work call in 10 minutes. In desperation, she handed him her phone with a colorful children's video playing. For weeks, it seemed like magic. Denny was calm. Lisa could breathe. She even convinced herself he was learning something from the educational content. Other mothers praised her for having such a well-behaved child. But then the cracks began to show. Denny started crying the moment the video ended, reaching frantically for the device. He'd throw tantrums when she said no, worse than anything before the tablet existed. His afternoon naps became battles. At night, he'd toss and turn for hours, unable to settle. The toys he once loved sat untouched. He couldn't focus on anything unless it had a screen. To understand what went wrong for Lisa, we need to understand how babies actually learn. When Denny was born, his brain came equipped with an incredible learning system, but it only activates through one specific type of interaction: real, responsive, back-and-forth exchanges with people who love him. Picture this. When Lisa looks into Denny's eyes and says, "Mama," then pauses, his brain lights up with activity. He coos back. She smiles and repeats the word. He tries again. This simple exchange, this serve and return rhythm, is building millions of neural connections. His brain is learning language, emotional regulation, cause and effect, and social connection all at once. When Lisa's mother plays peekaboo with Denny, hiding her face and reappearing, his brain is learning object permanence, prediction, joy, and trust. When his father stacks blocks with him, narrating each action, pausing to let Denny try, then celebrating his attempts, those moments are constructing the foundation for attention, problem-solving, and resilience. This is especially critical before 18 months. During this window, babies' brains are wired to learn from human faces, voices, and touch, not from screens. Even video chatting with grandparents works because it's interactive, someone responds when the baby babbles or waves. But a tablet? No matter how colorful or musical, it cannot respond to Denny. It doesn't pause when he's confused. It doesn't adjust when he's overwhelmed. It doesn't celebrate when he learns something new. It just keeps playing, indifferent to whether he's learning or simply staring, numb and overstimulated. Lisa started keeping a mental list of the changes she noticed in Denny. At first, she dismissed them as normal toddler behavior, phases he'd outgrow. But the pattern was unmistakable. The most obvious sign was the meltdowns. The instant she reached for the tablet to turn it off, Denny would scream as if in pain. Not the normal fussing of a disappointed toddler, but full-body, inconsolable crying that could last 20 minutes or more. He'd reach for the device desperately, sometimes hitting or biting when she held firm. His attention span had shrunk dramatically. Books he used to enjoy for 10 minutes now held his interest for barely 30 seconds. He'd flip the pages frantically, looking for something, anything that matched the intensity of his videos. Building blocks, toy cars, puzzles, all abandoned within moments. Unless it moved and made noise, Denny simply couldn't engage. Lisa felt like she was losing her son to something she couldn't see or fight. One evening, Lisa sat down and actually watched what Denny had been watching. She'd always assumed it was harmless, educational content made for children. But as she paid attention, really paid attention, she began to understand. The videos moved at a relentless pace. Scene changes every 2 to 3 seconds. Bright colors flashing. Characters moving with exaggerated, jerky motions. Music that never stopped, layered with sound effects, voices, and constant noise. There was no pause, no silence, no moment for a child's brain to process what they'd just seen before the next thing appeared. This was the real villain. Not screens themselves, but this specific combination, solo viewing without an adult to help interpret, fast-paced content that overwhelms developing brains, and autoplay that removes any natural stopping point. When Lisa watched educational shows from her own childhood, she noticed the difference immediately. Slower pacing. Pauses where hosts asked questions and waited, inviting children to respond. Clear beginnings and endings. Content meant to be watched with a parent who could talk about what was happening. Lisa knew she couldn't just take the tablet away cold turkey. Denny's brain had become dependent on that stimulation, and sudden removal would only create more chaos. She needed a plan, and she needed to be consistent. First, she started tracking screen time. She was shocked to discover Denny was watching nearly 3 hours a day, spread across morning, afternoon, and evening sessions. She decided to reduce gradually, cutting 15 minutes every 3 days. This slow approach gave his nervous system time to adjust without triggering complete meltdowns. Next, she changed what he watched. She deleted the fast-paced videos and replaced them with slower, calmer content. Shows with clear pauses, gentle pacing, and characters who spoke directly to the viewer, asking questions and waiting for responses. The difference in Denny's reaction was immediate. He seemed less frantic, more present. But the biggest change was co-viewing. Instead of handing Denny the tablet and walking away, Lisa sat beside him. She'd pause the video to ask questions. What color is that? Can you point to the dog? What do you think happens next? She narrated what they were seeing together, helping his brain process and understand rather than just absorb. The transition wasn't easy, but Lisa stayed firm. The first thing Lisa noticed was sleep. After just 5 days of reduced screen time and no tablets after 5 p.m., Denny started falling asleep faster. Within 2 weeks, he was sleeping through the night for the first time in months. His body had finally learned to regulate itself again without the artificial stimulation keeping his nervous system in overdrive. Next came attention. Denny started playing with his toys again, not just for seconds but for real stretches of time. He'd build towers, knock them down, and rebuild them, laughing at his own creation. He'd flip through books, pointing at pictures, asking, "What's that?" in his sweet toddler voice. The curiosity Lisa thought she'd lost was coming back. The meltdowns didn't disappear overnight, but they became less frequent and less intense. Denny learned that when screen time ended, something else good was coming. Story time. Playtime with Mama. A walk outside. The transition stopped feeling like a punishment and started feeling like part of the rhythm of his day. Here's the truth every parent needs to hear. Your baby doesn't need another video. They need you. Your voice. Your face. Your presence. That connection is what builds their brain, and nothing on a screen can replace it. What's one thing you're going to try with your child after watching this? Let me know in the comments. If you found these helpful, consider subscribing for more science-backed ways to support your child's growth. You've got this.